Oh, my God.
He probably has them. Just do your best.
Well, it's up there. Yeah.
Once we die hard.
Okay, don't worry about it. Is that?
That's mine.
Oh, no. I tried to hear this out. That's sustainability.
You do?
You ready?
When the GPA comes up in a previous advertisement.
I think it's going to be a big pop.
Wait,
I've got another person.
I call this meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. If there are no objections or corrections, we will approve the minutes from our last meeting as distributed. Vice President Barnes?
Yo, I move that we appoint Taylor Beavers, Carly Galarza, Stephen Powell, Audrey Scape, Unique Sori Sifon, Zachary Wakesman, Shibam Patel, and Aaron Street to their respective positions on Senate.
Discussion on the motion. Vice President Barnes?
We held appointments and interviews and et cetera over the last week, and my appointment committee gave me recommendations on who to appoint. We decided on them. They are here tonight, and this motion is essentially business to appoint all individuals who were appointed and not elected over the last several weeks.
Information.
Yes, sir.
I thought Shivam Patel was already appointed.
He was. It's all,
Oh, good.
it's a collective motion to ensure that everybody is appointed by, vote by Senate.
Okay. If there are no objections, we'll approve by unanimous consent. Congratulations to our newly appointed. We're fortunate to have several presenters this evening to bring updates from their respective areas in the university and answer any questions that you may have. Please welcome the Study Abroad and Exchange Program Manager, Ms. Natalie Fleming. If there are no objections, I will suspend the rules for 10 minutes to allow her to present.
you look at the first point, I have, if you're an undergrad and you're taking 15 hours on campus, it's around 4,300, but the study abroad tuition would be 3,900. So those students that are studying abroad with a partner are paying UCA tuition, studying abroad with a partner school, earning credit, and they're able to use their scholarships and financial aid as if they're here. So they're able to use things like the Pell Grant, the Arkansas Academic Challenge, if they have that, a UCA departmental scholarship, study abroad scholarship if they're selected and have that, and other private scholarships. So I just wanted to share that we want to see more students taking advantage of this, and the study abroad office is happy to talk with any of you or any other students on campus to figure out how to get more students to take advantage of this. I also have the summer tuition listed here so you can see that price. As far as what we're doing to try to get more students to go abroad, we're actually having a passport here on campus tomorrow. So the United States Post Office will be on campus processing new applications at study abroad office. So students can actually apply for a passport on campus instead of making an appointment to go to another post office. And so we're really proud of that. This is our third one, and we'll have another one in spring. We have an opportunity scholarship this semester with some board of trustee funding we got last year that we held on to because we didn't want to just spend it without really thinking. And it's open to students who are either Pell Grant recipients and or first generation college students and or never studied abroad. It's up to $3,000. So the hope is we'll give some $3,000 scholarships to help kind of bridge that gap with the financial obstacle. We have the study abroad scholarship, and you can see the amounts there. We have new programs. Faculty are wanting to lead programs. We have 13 for summer 19. And that includes OT and nursing in Costa Rica and Japanese language and nursing in Japan. And I mentioned those two just because they're a lot different from what we've had in the past. And we know if we want more students to go abroad, we have to offer different types of credit. There's many more you can look at our website if you're interested, but I did want to mention those two. With the semester exchange, I mentioned students are paying the UCA tuition, using their scholarships and financial aid if they're here. There's some partners that aren't even on the website yet, but I can tell you that we're in the process of signing paperwork with schools, which include one located in Kenya and one located in the Czech Republic. So we're hoping by these new opportunities in different places will attract more students to go as well. We added new programs last year, and we hope to continue to add new partners. Closing thoughts, I just wanted to ask what you all want to see from the office. In the past, the study abroad fee was talked about. There's what I believe in library fees and so on and so forth. We have the study abroad committee who meets. They represent all the colleges. There's some appointed positions, and we talked about the study abroad fee, but we realized that we can't just say that we want to see one and it appears. That takes a lot of work. But I welcome discussion on that. And then one question we have is why are more students not studying abroad? We know that the factors aren't just financial. We know that. But if you do send surveys to students, you would love to have a question about study abroad. What students want to see and what we could do as a university to get more students involved. And that's pretty much all I have. But I would welcome questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Senator Durion?
Yes, I do have one quick question. In regards to the $3,000 scholarships, I have a feeling that there's only a set amount of those. How many are there?
About 5.
About 5. Okay.
Senator Sierra?
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that these scholarships are not available for international students. Are they?
So that's correct that they're not available currently.
Uh-huh.
We are talking, meaning requesting that be changed. The study abroad committee is working on that as well as international engagement. But you're right, currently they're not open to internationals. And just so we're clear, study abroad and international engagement did not make that decision. We're going towards that.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
study abroad scholarship is available for graduate students. Yeah. There aren't a lot of outside scholarships available for graduate students, like some of the government scholarships that we work with. The study abroad scholarship is available for grads. That's positive, but there's obviously more work to be done. But I don't know. I'm open to ideas. I know that it's been, the importance of study abroad has been talked about on a lot of different levels recently, which is encouraging. But as far as how to do that, I'm open to discussing that.
Any other questions? Thank you so much for your time. Before we move on to our next presenter, are there any students here on behalf of Open Forum? Our next presenter is Ms. April Myers. She's the program coordinator for the Student Support and Resource Center. Is Ms. Myers here? Our final presenter this evening is Mr. Jim Neighbors. He is the general manager of Airmark. If there are no objections, I will suspend the rules for 10 minutes to allow him to present.
Great. Hey, everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces, but I see a lot of new faces. So welcome. We're glad to have you. And I want to talk to you just a little bit about what's going on with Airmark, and then I'll take any questions as we have time. First off, I just want you to know that working with some university people and some committees at the university, we have tried to implement some changes already this year that hopefully you've noticed. The exhibition station, we're not doing just one thing a week. We're doing something every day is different. So like Monday is Meatless Mondays, Tuesday is Taco Tuesdays, Wednesday is Fresh Toss Pasta Days, Thursdays is our Stir Fry Days, Creative Stir Fry, and then Fridays are what we're calling our Fun Days, Fun Fridays. And we've really already done a couple of things there, like biscuit bars with the different savory gravies and different toppings. We've done pretzel bars with the same thing. This Friday we're doing a s'mores bar. I've got burners coming to make your own s'mores and do a s'mores bar there this Friday. So hopefully that we'll see a lot of different, hopefully a lot of involvement with those, because I know it's something that we really needed to change because it was kind of boring and everybody's kind of getting the same thing all the time. So we've really tried to work on what we can do there. We've also done on Sunday nights, Sunday nights we now do spud nights. So you have potatoes on Sunday nights, baked potatoes, and then on every night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This has not completely been implemented, but we're working on it. But we will be doing something, we will be changing them up. So it's not going to be just grill in the produce market or salad bar from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We may do grill 2 nights a week, and then the other 3 nights a week implement something else. It could be served at the grill just because of the labor savings, but it might be nuggets and mashed potatoes. It might be loaded nacho bars along with something else. But we're really trying to work to change that up too, because we've got so many comments about those people that eat from 7 to 9. It's always the same. It's been the same. I'm so sorry. So we've really tried to get that worked out to where we can offer better things from that 7 to 9 p.m. time frame. And then the only other things really are there things such as Harris Twisted Tacos. Everybody tried it? Are we happy we're getting that on campus now? Because we've been wanting a Mexican concept for at least the 15 years I've been around this campus. And so I'm glad we were able to do that finally. And then also with Einstein's across the street, is that going well for everyone? I know when I go in, it looks pretty crowded most of the time. I guess I can announce to you all, because I've really announced it to very few people, that Starbucks opening date will be Monday the 15th. So that should get ahead. That should get ahead. They turned it over to me on Friday. So my crew is in there now. They're setting the store back up, and then training will take place into this week and all of next week, and then we'll be ready to open right after fall break. So we're really excited about that. I don't know if y'all peeked in because the walls are down, and you can see through, but it's really a good-looking store. So thank y'all for your patience. I know that we all have hoped that that'd be the first of the semester, but Starbucks is on its own timeline, so we kind of have to do what they want to do, but we've got it done. So it's very nice to have it back to us and getting ready to open. That's really about all I have. So if y'all have any questions for me about any retail outlets, because I'm over all food service. So retail outlets, concessions, anything. I'll be glad to take those as you see.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Neighbors? Senator Chittier?
Actually, it's not a question. I wanted to ask if it's possible to put the Namibia flag in the cafeteria, because actually I know that there is a national student from that country, and they told me that they don't have a flag. And as I see that, for example, there are like some flags that are big.
Sure. That goes through housing. So if you'll contact Stephanie McBrayer, the director of housing, she can get those flags for you that we know they're up there.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Senator Durion?
So, sir, I don't know when was the last time you've been in contact with the lifestyle of freshmen, but there is something called a freshman 15. And when I heard changing it from 7 to 9 to chicken nuggets and mashed potatoes, not really giving them a fighting chance there. Is there any chance that we could possibly make this a more nutritionally diverse 7 to 9, maybe instead of like a burger and fries or chicken nuggets, mashed potatoes, something a little bit more stable to the nutritional diet?
We can. I mean, the thing is, we'll look at that. Like I said, we have not implemented that yet. When you realize, I mean, this could possibly be because simply of what we've always served. When we feed between that time period, we feed less than 100 people. For each of those 5 nights that we're open, we really have to think about my labor involved in all of that. And so I can't really do an entire different comfort line. I don't have the time to change it over and to do that. So it's something we can look at to see if maybe we can just extend something like the vegan options or some type of options during that. But definitely we'll have to look at that.
Thanks.
And we'll be glad to.
Senator Sierra?
Yes, I know we discussed a change of quizzes, like of the settings of quizzes. I don't know what happened with that.
Well, we had to keep a sandwich location.
Yeah, yeah.
And since we can't get any other national brand, we've looked at other brands. But I think that Quiznos is, I think there's, I might be jumping ahead of myself, but I think there's going to be a couple of changes in the food court. And I don't know that Quiznos is going to be the first one of those.
Okay.
And I'll be perfectly honest with you. Aramark is really trying to take Pizza Hut out of our portfolio. And there is a brand of pizza called Oath, O-A-T-H pizza. And it has already taken the place of Pizza Huts in several of our locations, but only one here in Arkansas. And so it looks like when our Pizza Hut franchise agreements run out, that's the next location we'll be changing, and that will happen in April, so probably the end of that semester.
No, but my question was more about the look. Because I remember we talked about changing the look of Quiznos to like update it.
That's Quiznos look still.
Okay, okay.
I mean, I'm not behind on any refreshing of Quiznos, so that's just what we have.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, huh?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Neighbors? Senator Hildreth?
So I have a question about the vegan option actually. So I was in the cafeteria last week, and the vegan option was like sweet potato with chili, corn, mix on top of it. But so I just wanted like the sweet potato, but they said that I had the chili on top. I couldn't even get the chili on the side. So I was just wondering, when we're swiping our swipes to get the food, if the food is available, is there a way that we can like get different combinations of the food, or does that have to be?
Well, here, I've made some changes in that this year, so thanks for bringing that up. We're no longer supposed to be saying no if somebody wants 2 pieces of chicken. I mean, we're supposed to be letting them have what they want. Vegan option is a little bit different because we do have to provide that type of food group. But if we let all the sweet potatoes go, then our vegan dish is not the vegan dish anymore. That's why it's just on the vegan that we try not to do that. I hope that makes sense, but that is the reasoning behind it.
Any other questions? Senator Watkins?
I tried to wait till the end because I have a few. First, thank you for getting Starbucks open on 15th. I'm really excited. I missed my latte in the morning. I have a question about Aramark's communication efforts because I know a lot of people complain about it not being as transparent as it should be, and also when we check the website for like what's for dinner or what's for lunch, it doesn't exactly always line up with what's actually in the cafeteria. So is there a way to like work on that and make sure we're like...
We are working on that, and I'm sorry I didn't introduce Morgan. Morgan is our new marketing coordinator.
It's a pleasure to meet you all.
She started kind of the first of this semester, so she will be sort of in charge of getting those things to match up. I know that I also have a new girl who is working on keeping our menu boards correct. The whole process is it goes from our production area, it goes from there to Campus Dish, and then they pull the website the monitors from Campus Dish. So short answer to your question, yes, we can do our best. But you have to realize that there are times that we're going to run out of product, or that a truck's not going to come in, that product's not going to be delivered, and the website takes 2 hours to update. So even if we get it into what our production system is that goes to the website, sometimes it's not the quickest process in the world, unfortunately.
And for the weekends, a lot of students feel like there's sort of a lack of quality in the food on the weekends. I know one complaint was that Saturday we had the pork chops, I believe, and we also had those pork chops Friday. So students kind of feel like we're just getting the leftovers on the weekend, and then when they ran out of the pork chops, there was something else. And then when they ran out of the chicken nuggets, they just put like chicken patties. So
Yeah, that's something I need to talk to my production team on weekends about. I know that I had heard that we had been late opening Sunday not this past Sunday, but a week ago. So I made sure I was here this Sunday because I wanted to see what was being produced. I wanted to see if it went out on time. I wanted to see if the food looked good and it looked great. And it was on time. I didn't come in on Saturday. So I guess that's a discussion I'll have with my production team on weekends.
okay, great, thank you.
Sure.
And then kind of going off what Senator Kilgore said about when we go up and ask for something, a lot of times they'll be like, you can only get this and this. So has that stopped completely? And if so, is there a way we could convey that to the employers at the CAF? Because I personally think a lot of students I understand that there's like nutritional standards that go into like, we can't technically give you this because of nutrition, but it's a buffet kind of deal where you can go back and get another plate. So I think it's kind of like wasting plates and resources if you just have to come back and get it again.
Unless it's splitting an entree, like a vegan entree, you should be able to go up there, and if it's chicken and you want 2 pieces of chicken, you should be able to ask for 2 pieces of chicken again. That has been conveyed to my management staff and all my supervisors. So if it's not getting to those frontline employees, I need to get it to them personally because you should not be having to go back.
Great, and my last question.
That's all right.
Can you please, I know you probably had to explain it several times, but can you please explain the meal plan changes to Senate? Because a lot of people have questions about it, and a lot of people in the student center that have the student center meal plans are feel like they're sort of being robbed, as like there's a limit on the budget of what they can spend, and so it's not only taking their swipe, but it's also taking some of their dining dollars when they're getting what they would have originally gotten last year.
Yeah, here's the other thing about last year's first year. It was the first year, that's why we decided we'd do $10. This year, because of the things that we were asked to do by the university and the different concepts that we put in this year, the financial behind that, all the finances behind that, we looked at everything from prior year and we looked at the exact amount that the average intake was from cash equivalency. It was $8.37. So that's what we took to make that $8.50. So we took that knowing that the majority of the people use less than $8.50. So that's why we did that, and we made that swipe worth $8.50 instead of $10. And plus, we also added declining balance to every single meal plan for that very reason, because we knew that it was gonna affect some people in some ways.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Senator Kale.
With that, I agree, like, this meal plan is probably the best designed one so far, but my only grievance is that we only have one block plan for students now, so if they want to eat in the student center, they have to do the 200 block, or have an apartment plan. Is there going to be a future where we could implement one more block plan or something to have more flexibility for students?
I'm not gonna say yes or no. All I can say is that every semester since I've been here, we've looked at decreasing meal plans. And we seem to decrease, and we'll spend a year and we'll increase. So we've really tried to decrease the number of meal plans and make them fit the student better. I know that we work with SGA, and I know that we work a lot with housing and the Vice President of Finance. And give me some ideas of what you'd like to see, and we can look at anything. It's just, as we all know, that it's just gonna all come down to money. What it's gonna cost you, what it's gonna cost the university, so that's absolutely something we can look at though. It's just, we think we've gotten in a good place, but if we have to increase, we may have to.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Neighbors? Senator Warren.
Good.
The change that you made in CAP sound like they're great. I just have a few suggestions.
Okay.
You know, I've been on SGA for about a week now. And I've been talking to students. One of the main issues around campus is some students feel like they can increase. They're not able to talk to other students around campus regularly. You know, they're not in the same clubs or they don't communicate with them in their classroom. I'm a graduate student. I'm an undergraduate somewhere else. One of the things we did to increase school morale, and it worked. I can't even tell you the science behind it, but it was like it's one of the biggest things on campus now. We did this thing called midnight lunches. So it was study day. I think we have study day here on campus. Study day on campus, we opened up the cafeteria at 12 o'clock midnight, and we had free food for the campus, and all the freshmen came, all the transfer students came, and it was just a way for students to meet each other. They might have the same class, talk about the financial presentation. I actually met my girlfriend here. And it's big, just I didn't even like the Greek organizations go out and grow. It's just a suggestion I've seen work at other campuses that maybe you can consider.
And y'all did that, how many times a semester?
It was just on study day. So.
So just once, we do that once a semester.
So it's once a semester?
We do it, we do that, yeah.
All right, that's awesome. And we go out in the Starbucks. I was talking to somebody, maybe you already have awesome hours. Maybe like the week before finals week, maybe you can open it 24 hours instead of closing at 2 a.m. or 3 days before study or something. Just suggesting
That's again something we'd have to look at staffing for.
Yeah, I know you have to look at that. Just keep on the back.
Sure. Absolutely.
Any other questions for Mr. Neighbors? Senator, for Vice President McGeary.
So the 220 meal block plan is always available. Why is that?
The
The
only-
220 meal block plan, it's not 200. Why was it changed like that?
It's all has to do with what we're looking at revenues that we're gonna have to be used to bring new concepts to campus. And so as we did that, we figured out which meal plans were the most utilized, and that was always most utilized more than the 140. And we let the senior block plan too.
Any other questions for Mr. Neighbors? Senator DePersia.
So the food tags that say, like if food is vegetarian or vegan are great, but I've noticed that sometimes they're not up all of the time. And then also, is there a way that we could get, I guess, like contains nuts on there or something? Or like at least, I guess have the people in the cafeteria like working know if the food has it or not. Someone came up to me last week and they almost ate food with nuts and they have like a severe allergy and they asked the person working in the cafeteria if it had anything in it and they said no. So it's just kind of
No, there's always at least 3 managers in that cafeteria.
Yeah.
So they can always ask for a manager or someone from the production team
Yeah.
to talk to them about that. There should be still signage out that just says certain foods may contain nuts. It's not anything that we're labeled anymore.
yeah.
It just becomes too huge of a liability issue if you label something. So it's a not only an error mark, it's pretty standard across food service business now that you say this products could come into contact with various types of nuts and grains, and so you just have to be real careful. And if I don't have those signs up anymore, we had them up around like everywhere at the produce market and the home zone, and we can certainly get those up again. But as far as tagging it for nuts, just saying this contains nuts, we're probably not going to see that happen.
Okay.
Senator Street.
Yes, in regards to that, so I understand that's a liability issue to say that like something specifically has nuts just in case, but what about for those students who do have those severe nut allergies, what can they eat if everything in this cafeteria has the possibility of coming into
Do you know what what Campus Dish is?
Nope.
Campus Dish is our dining website. You can get to it from uca.edu and under D for dining. You can pull up any day's menus. You can filter everything by allergens, by gluten-free, you can filter everything out. And then you can also look at all nutritional information that will let you know anything that could be in there that could be harmful.
So just going back off of that again, just like convenience, because I know like this age for all millennials, everything's about convenience, right? So what's gonna increase like students who do have those allergies if they have to go through the effort of going online every single time to see what's on the menu, to see what they can and cannot eat? What's gonna incline them to, or incentivize them to start eating in the calf, or to continue eating in the calf?
Well, I mean, again, we do everything that we can, and we do things that are required by law, plus we do more. Right now, the only thing required by law is calorie counts. But if you go to that website, you can get all nutritional information on there. And we try to keep ahead of that so people can have that information. And who mentioned the cards? Was it you that mentioned the cards? Mm-hmm. Those cards, if we wanted to, I mean, even though I've got the new monitors, I could put those cards out again because we still have those cards that have all the nutritional information on it, but it doesn't have recipes, so you don't know exactly what all's in it.
Sorry, random questions. I'm in a marketing research class, and we're doing surveying for the cafeteria. So just random questions. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I forgot to ask about like for the students that were still like leaving the campus in the weekend. It's not only the problem like with the quality that is, for example, on Saturdays night. It's that at 6 a.m. 6 p.m. it's closed.
Right.
So if I want to go have dinner, like a late dinner, I can because it's closed. But I think there's like a lot of people that still on campus and really need to have the service.
Hours are also something that we talk about every year. And anytime we increase hours, you're increasing all costs, and that's going to increase your cost. So I mean, I hope that answers, but if we just start doing that, because when we feed 1,300 people at a regular meal period during the school week, during Monday through Friday, but then on weekends we feed maybe 300, it doesn't make sense for us to stay open the same hours.
Any other questions? Senator Weston?
Mr. Neighbors, for regular students, how are they able to request food changes to the meal plan?
How do they change their meal plans?
Yeah, or how can they like implement like new food like chicken strips or something?
We try to do everything that is kind of healthier meals. I know we had someone speak about that about our thoughts of doing chicken nuggets and mashed potatoes. That type of food we really tried to get away with, except for maybe on special occasions, is we really tried to focus on menus that have been proven by a bunch of chefs at Aramark, and we try to get those menus, and we can pick from those menus. We can go outside any menu. If I want, I can do anything I want to do. All I have to do is send it up for approval. I think when we look at menus, we really look at what are the healthiest options for the people, for the demographics that are eating.
Okay. One more question. Would there be any way possible that you could like, I don't know, like add some type of way students could insert their preference for food on the campus dining website?
One thing you can do right now, started today, is dining style survey. And let me tell you, we look at those and we base everything on that survey. I mean, we base all kinds of stuff on it because it breaks down every location on campus. It breaks down everything that you can put in verbatim, talking about each place. And we look at those, and that's how we look at a lot of things as we're making changes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So take the survey.
Senator DePersia?
I'm not trying to nitpick because the screens are great, but I've just heard a few people talk about how the screens are really hard to read, like so far as the way it's formatted. And I was just wondering if maybe it'd be possible to implement some sort of visually more readable format.
Yeah, and I think if you've looked at it over the past week,
Okay.
I know there's still a couple of things where they're doubling and they're kind of sitting over another item. But I think if you look at it, we have a lady who's doing those now, who has learned how to walk out with her iPad and make the changes and do all of that. So I think that they've been a lot better in the past really week than they were before that.
Okay, great, thanks.
And we've changed the background because I hated the background that was bricks because you couldn't see anything. So.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from Mr. Members? Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank y'all.
This evening.
I appreciate it.
Our final presenter is Ms. April Myers. She is the program coordinator for the Student Support and Resource Center. If there are no objections, I'll suspend the rules for 10 minutes to allow her to present.
have a lot of different programs. I have, he's very friendly giving out some flyers for you. There's also the website. It has more information and links to where you can set appointments, using an online appointment calendar to meet with me and discuss these things. But I can very briefly go over what it is that we have to offer. There are a few general eligibility requirements. Of course, you have to be degree seeking. You have to be registered in the current term. You can't just wander in and say, I went to UCA once, I need some money. You can't owe past due balance. It's actually pretty important. I have a lot of students who come in who have a past due balance with a financial hold on their account. So if you know anybody who's got that outstanding balance and their needs, so they can still come and meet with me. However, we're going to have to work on getting that part taken care of first. And then you also have to have exhausted all other types of financial aid, including your student loans, and yes, that includes unsubsidized loans. It does not, I do not count the Parent Plus loan. I just like to share that information, and I will not hold that against you if your parents aren't willing or unable to get that loan. You are required, any student who wants to receive emergency funding needs to meet with me for most of the programs. That's why I have an online appointment calendar where you can go and schedule the best time for you or for anybody who can make sure that they can fit that into their schedule. It does have to be in person, except in exceptional circumstances. I have not had good luck with video calls, so I can do those as needed, but it really does need to be an exceptional circumstance. So I talked a little bit about the Dash Emergency Grant. That one was the one that started last year. It's a grant of up to $1,000 for non-educational expenses such as rent, car care, child care, utilities, and more. That is the one program we have that really can help with non-educational expenses. The rest of them are really designed to help with things like tuition, possibly fees, and room and board, depending on which one we're talking about. I'm not going to drag you through every single program that I have available because that is a waste of your time. But definitely keep in mind that we have emergency funding available. And also, even if a student finds out that they're unable or ineligible to receive any of these aid programs, we also can try to connect them with other resources. I've let a lot of people know about the campus food pantry, about local food pantries available in town, about CAPCA, the Community Action Program for Central Arkansas, which is a really great place to go for really emergency funding if you live in Baltimore County. And there's just a lot more. I know a lot of things that I can try to point students towards, but if I tried to make a kind of catch-all document or something like that, it would be a book. And so I highly recommend any student who is facing a financial crisis or an unexpected circumstance, or who sees one coming up in the future. Well, encourage them to set an appointment with me. I'm happy to help however I can, even if I have to, sit there and just make phone calls to various places around Conway. I will do that. And so that's really the gist of what I have to say. Does anybody have any questions about the programs that we offer or anything like that?
Senator Sierra.
How are international students considered in any of these aid programs?
International students are a little bit more difficult based on where the funding sources come from. At the moment, we have the emergency textbook grant is available to international students. The APSEC, or Assistance Program for Students with Exceptional Circumstances, is also available to international students. Dash Emergency Grant is not available to international or graduate students, I'm afraid. And the others, don't worry too much about the last scholarship. You will be invited to apply to that. We are
fairly like got everything paid for, but it's struggling to pay for textbooks. Like they were able to like fully pay their tuition with loans and stuff like that, but like they just couldn't afford textbooks. Since they're not on any like payment plan, they don't qualify for this loan.
So you don't have to be on a specific, any past due balance must be on a payroll. So if you have no balance, there's no financial hold to worry about, you're golden as far as that particular eligibility requirement is concerned. And as long as you don't have that balance. And then another thing we'll look at is how much excess aid have you received. If you received enough excess aid to cover your need, you're gonna have to have some kind of explanation as to where that went. And so, especially with the emergency textbook grant, that one will usually end up going to students who, in their application, have explained some form of what their emergency situation is. And something to let you know exactly what it is that caused them to be unable to afford their textbooks. It was not just a lack of money.
Are there any other questions from Ms. Myers? Senator Wilson.
You mentioned the housing help that you can give people not living on campus, I assume. Is this specifically just in the Dash Emergency Grant, or is there some other avenue for that?
That is specifically for the Dash Emergency Grant. That came from the Great Lakes Higher Education Corporation. And they have specific rules that we cannot use that money for UCA housing. That is the only program that we have currently that can help with just about any non-educational expense. Now, the emergency loan program can also, with the loan, you receive a check that's actually written to you, and it's up to you to pay it back within 5 months. That can be used for any purpose that is needed, but again, it is only $200, so it's not like a ton of expense.
Any other questions? Senator Spears.
Also, did you have any, or do you have any policies regarding first-time students, students that are incoming freshmen, staying or signing up for classes over the summer? Do you guys have any way of having that emergency aid?
Yes, as far as all of my programs, the ones that I have control over are concerned, we do not exclude entering freshmen. Our eligibility requirements are based more around expected family contribution off of the FAFSA and other considerations depending on the program.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
I will go into my report. So before that, I want to recognize Ian and Hannah. They're our ideal pages tonight, so we thank you both for being here and helping us distribute a lot of the information we've been giving out. So can everyone get them So first thing, calendar and chambers. So if you are a returner and you saw the SGA office last year, you noticed that we had a really nice calendar out there. Well, we did a renovation this summer and have a new calendar. So the old calendar has moved into chambers on this side of the room. All events and programs pertaining to SGA will be written on this calendar. So if you have a question, it's also written on the calendar in the office. But if you just happen to be hanging out in chambers and you're curious about what's going on that week in SGA or that month or a month into the future, it's all written up there. So keep posted. If there's anything that your committees are working on that you want to make sure, if you'll let someone on exec know or let one of the office workers know, they will gladly come in here and update it because we want to know what all you're working on and make sure that everyone is aware and has enough time to attend. So for the presidential town hall, last Wednesday we had over 45 questions submitted for our first town hall, so that was really good. The topics range from parking to diversity within SGA to mandatory Title IX training for incoming freshmen. So as with the presidential town hall last semester, we're publishing a document in the coming weeks that will provide detailed answers to all 45 questions that were submitted. Vice President McGarity emailed that list of questions out to the president and executive staff this morning. And it'll take them probably a week or so to get all of the information that they need to compile that report. And as soon as it's been compiled, it will be shared with all of you, and then it will be published on SGA social media for the student body to access. So for poll workers, I received an email from the UCA Director for External Affairs and Governmental Relations, Mr. Jeremy Dillon. As you are all aware, UCA is designated as a polling site. That site will be under Donaghy Hall in what was the old bike shop. But to staff that, they need 5 poll workers to be provided interested, our polling site will only be accessible on election day, so no Tuesday, November 6th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You will be compensated $119 based on 14 hours of work. Anything you work over 14 hours, add $8.50 per hour. This also includes your pay for a 30-minute lunch break. You do have to be a Faulkner County resident, and you will need to work the full 13-hour shift. So if any of you are interested in that, if you will please see me after meeting so I can get your information to Mr. Gillum. And there's some additional details I can share with those of you that are interested if you want more information about that. The final thing we're going to do is something that Exec talked about at retreat, is the implementation of shifting from GroupMe to Slack. And Exec Committee brought up last Wednesday that a lot of people are unfamiliar with Slack and don't really know kind of the operations and the uses of it. So I found this like 6-ish minute tutorial that's going to walk you through the basics of Slack. And then if you have any questions, I can take those as well.
So there's two different parts to Slack. There are channels, which are basically, they're hashtagged for a reason, and the hashtag implies that that's the subject of the channel. So it's pretty easy to keep content organized or subject matter organized because you're talking about the subject on the channel. So the general channel is things for, you can see right here I wrote the purpose. This is the very beginning of the general channel, purpose. This channel is for general questions, comments, or feedback. We'll get back to your inquiry as soon as we can. You can edit this if you're the owner. Resources. You can see here there's a purpose. This channel is to share awesome content and resources which others may find useful to up their poker game. So these help people keep subject conversation organized so that someone can access what they want to learn about without getting the stuff that they don't want to learn about. So it's a great way to keep the conversation organized. So here, the second part is the direct messages. This is where you can message anyone that's in your Slack community, and you can DM them. So I have Dragon here. I can DM them. He says to me, he says, "Hey Dragon." I can say, "Hey Dragon, welcome to Conscious Poker Elite. I'm making a video on how to use Slack." So I can send him a DM, and he will see that DM. I can also do unique things, like I can share emojis. I think there's a bunch of emojis here I could use. But one of the cool things about this is I can edit messages if I want. I can copy links, share this message. I can send reminders, which is really useful if he sends me something I need to do, or like something I want to follow up with, or something I want to read. I can remind myself again in a couple hours. And that's really useful. So Slack's a great way for connecting with people that are in a channel that you like. Let's say you're reading something in the channel and you say, "Oh, this guy's interesting." I can send him a DM pretty easily by going here and clicking on his name and sending him a direct message. I could also view his profile here, which is also pretty easy to do. Lastly, one other thing is you can edit your profile here, which is pretty self-explanatory. You upload a picture and change your bio, and you can change your status here. So these are all things you can do easily in Slack. The basic hack you want to know for Slack, and it's important to know how to use it, is using the channels effectively. So here in the Share Your Story channel, you can read the purpose. This channel is a way for everyone to connect, make friends, and share their story and experiences, which help them along their poker journey. So here I shared my story here. And what you want to do is when you have a new subject, you want to send it as a message. So you could say something like, "Hey guys, I'm sharing my story," and then that's a new message. If you want to reply to someone who's already shared a story, you want to keep the conversation organized. That's always your goal with Slack, is to keep communication more efficient. So if you like Alec Torelli's story here, instead of typing a message in the chat, you would click Start a Thread and reply and say, "Awesome story, Alec. Thanks for sharing." This replies to that comment instead of starting a new thread, which keeps the conversation organized. So everybody that wants to talk about Alec Torelli's story will do it as a reply so that there's a thread. just like you have on Twitter. It's like the equivalent of sending a message is the equivalent of posting a tweet, and then hitting this start a thread is the equivalent of replying to that tweet, which makes the content easy to share. I could also choose to share this with the entire thread, which would be like, quote, retweeting, which is not what I want to do. In addition, I could share message. Sharing message is the equivalent of quote retweeting. So if I want to share a message, I can say, this is awesome. But it will put this message that Alex Relly wrote underneath my message, and it's starting a new thread essentially, which you don't really want to do that unless there's a specific reason, because it just disorganizes the content. So that's a quote retweet if you want to do that. Alternatively, what you can do that's also cool in Slack, and this is a little bit more of an advanced tip, is you can organize things pretty easily. So if you want to upload files or search for things, you can do that by having a hashtag. So you can add a hashtag to anything like video, and if I hashtag video and I want to search for videos that are in this Slack channel, let's say I'm looking for awesome training videos, and I search for video, every time the hashtag video is used, or the word video, you can find it here. So you can, and Slack also lets you search for recent or relevant. So you can find things that are related to what you're looking for, which makes it easy. There's also a Files tab, which is really useful, because if someone wants to upload something, add a file from your computer, if they want to upload a video, you can see those videos or files or documents or whatever it is listed here as attachments, and you can just access them really easily. And they're also going to be organized by hashtags if you do it correctly. So that's a really useful way to use Slack, and yeah, you just want to start getting involved in these channels, and the idea is just to keep the conversation organized and then connect with other people on Slack that you see, because usually you're going to be part of a community and you're not going to know a lot of people, and Slack is a great tool for team building and getting to know everyone better. If you have questions about how to use Slack, I'm not a super expert, but I have been using it with my team with great success, and we absolutely love it here at Conscious Poker. And if you guys have questions, leave them below this video. I will either, I'll try to answer them as best I can. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so just to kind of recap that, so where he was talking about the general channel, that's our Senate body channel. So all of you, except for newly appointed senators, all of you should have received an invite via email through your Cub account to create your Slack account. So if you haven't for some reason, let me know after meeting, and I'll make sure that you get your invite, because it's very possible that I entered an email in wrong when it comes to entering 4 user emails. And then newly appointed senators, you'll get an email by the end of the week that has your invitation to join Slack. You'll also then have the ability to go in and join whatever committees that you're a part of. So those channels or threads are already uploaded into our SGA Slack as well. So are there any questions on Slack or any part of my report? Vice President Barnes?
Firstly, thank you very, very much for your full participation and attendance in the fall administration banquet last Monday. And thank you for coming to my closets, and just thank you for generally showing your faces and being beautiful, lovely senators. And I hope that you were able to gain something from the remarks that Dr. Bolter shared with us last Monday, because I certainly was, and I am every single time she speaks to me. So that's a good thing. But thank you anyway. Next, you have in front of you a retreat evaluation report. This is utilized from the retreat evaluations we received from you all at the close of retreat 2 weeks ago. So I will just briefly walk you through what your areas are, and you can read it on your own. So I do have an evaluation scale at the top that indicates 1 equals poor, 3 equals fair, and 5 equals excellent. So somewhere along that range is what you're seeing in these rankings at the top with this table. So as you can see, time was ranked 4.5, location 4.8, preparedness 4.7, opportunities to speak and participate 4.8, And then, the remainder of the report just kind of goes into the other questions, the kind of short answer questions that you all received on that evaluation. So, what did you like most about retreat? Kind of ranked where people generally kind of enjoyed things, or just kind of the comments that I received from folks. So those numbers that are beside any of those statements, that's the amount of people or the amount of evaluations that supply that specific element or something very much like it. Sometimes not everybody's going to rephrase things exactly the way that somebody else is going to phrase them, but in a general sense, that's kind of the outlook of what I received from those evaluations. Also, what did you like least about retreat? And then on the back two pages, are all of the responses individually from the question of how you plan to implement this retreat's information to make you more productive and effective in your current position. So those, all of those statements are available for your perusal, and this general report is available for your perusal. And this goes into our documents for next year's retreat so that the EVP is better supplied information on how to make the retreat better for next year, but also for years to come, as I said. Okay, next, Valor Replacement Meeting. So I believe I spoke to you all about it last 2 weeks ago, but it's all been a blur. So last Friday, not last Friday, but the Friday before that, I met with Vice President Diane Newton, her program director, Jennifer Newton, and we discussed the possibility of replacing the statue of Valor that was outside of Wingo Hall. So this is a bear that was carved from one of our World War II memorial trees. One of the 47 that sat on campus, one was carved into this statue of this bear named Valor. So that statue, as I said, I believe, was taken down due to kind of, wood illness, and sometimes that happens. Termites strike, it's very unfortunate. So we discussed what we want to do in place of that statue, or if we want to do something in place of that statue, and if so, what and how is that going to look and everything like that. So we just kind of had a brief discussion 2 Fridays ago, and then this past Friday, Dr. Seymour, Vice President Newton, her program director Jennifer Newton as well, and then Dr. Gail Seymour, who is the Associate Dean of the College of Fine Arts and Communication, met with us in addition, mostly because she is chair of the Public Art Committee and is essentially kind of the big hand in art on campus right now. But she's also a really great person to come to when it comes down to how to implement art properly and what all it takes to kind of get there. So just kind of a supplementary voice in that discussion. So we, at that meeting this past Friday, we discussed essentially what Dr. Seymour's kind of thoughts are on this process, where we want to go ahead of just kind of in the future ahead of us, in terms of, will Valor be replaced exactly? Do we want to do something completely different? What's kind of the intention? So we discussed possible, what's the long-term versus short-term goals here, and we kind of came up with a few just brief thoughts. Though our meeting was short, the consensus was that we do want to implement something in front of Wingo again. Likely, it will not be something so costly, because we want it to kind of get there soon. And so this is likely going to be some sort of bronze pouring or just metal sculpture or structure that it kind of signifies valor in a way, but a more permanent valor. In addition, we talked about 2 other areas where we could add art on campus that would just kind of, it would be a more long-term thought process, and it would just kind of, it would be more extended than this valor discussion. There's a roundabout coming in at College and Donaghy, so over by the sorority houses. That roundabout, people in the administration really want to see something university related in terms of art at that roundabout. Roundabout art is a thing that's kind of coming into because of specifically the fact that they're so prominent at this point. Roundabouts are, of course you see them all around Conway, and then Texas is an extremely prevalent roundabout area. So in that way, we kind of discussed briefly the possibility of an interactive experience with a college student in that roundabout area, possibly. Something kind of attached to the college experience, or allowing students to be part of the creation of this. So possibly getting with art students or the art department, or possibly bringing in, and likely bringing in, a artist from outside of Arkansas or somewhere else in Arkansas, to kind of pour their knowledge and their skill into it, and then make something kind of meaningful in that way. So this conversation is ongoing, and it's just going to continue building. The third thing was we have a Crystal Math gate. So this is a gate provided by a society that was here on campus in the very beginning of our university's opening. So this is a literary society that was very prevalent on campus, and it's a society that kind of stands in our structure of the university as quite sentimental and nostalgic. So they at the time of their use on campus, and them being part of campus, this was in the 20s and 30s. They created a gateway for the university and gifted it to the university. It is no longer around, the gateway, but it is something that has kind of stuck in our memory. And then we also have a blueprint on how to recreate this structure if we want to. So the structure eventually decayed. It was made out of wood, but this is something that we could bring in to the campus in the future. This Crystal Math gate that physically allows the college student or the person walking through it to kind of symbolically go from one area to another. That's kind of this is something that Dr. Seymour explained as an interactive part of campus art or public art that isn't really talked about. You don't have to touch something. You can pass through it or something like that. So a specific example is if you've been to the Hendrix, what would you call it? Tunnel. The Hendrix Tunnel. There is an art piece within that tunnel that is both interactive, but it's also one of those things where you pass through it, and that's part of the experience you gain from interacting with this art experience without necessarily touching it. So that's kind of all the things together, and we'll have more conversation about all three of those aspects in the future. And then finally, I wanted to remind you guys that the application for positions, as in Sergeant at Arms, the historian, and parliamentarian, are still open. We didn't get to remind you guys in the past 2 weeks about those, but I want to remind you that link, the link for the OrgSync form, will be in the minutes. Rose will include that, and you can apply for that. Please apply before the due date, so that'll be this Friday at 4 p.m. It will close then, and then exec will deliberate on whom they choose to inhabit these roles. It will not be an interview system, it will just be us choosing that. And then, yes, we will announce those roles likely next week on Monday. So just try to get those applications in. They're really cool. And since you do have this beautiful internal affairs sheet, you can refer to that on what the specific duties of those three positions entail. And that is it.
Are there any questions for Vice President Barnes? Senator Theory.
I do have one question, and it's kind of a sensitive matter to us at the Department of Military Science.
Mm-hmm.
So, with Valor being taken away, has this soldier's tree been replaced?
No, it is not. And this is what we've discussed. So there's a possibility that we could pour a new structure and create this permanent metal bear. Or we discussed possibly planting a tree in place of that tree that was carved for Valor and there and just begin to flourish. So it would be years and years down the road before we would actually see that come to full fruition. But that is where we're leading. That was something I forgot to mention. But yes, there you go. How's that sound?
Small little note, when it comes down to possibly replacing it with something more permanent, there's just one thing that we like to say in the military is that we're all part of a team. So when they are all recognized as trees as a memorial, a little bit of personal preference, it needs to be another tree.
Are there any other questions for Vice President Barnes? Vice President McGarry.
Okay, so Senate Meeting Week, that's something we do to recognize fellow senators that are doing hard work. So you can do that by the link, it'll be in the minutes. We'll be having the first of the week announced next meeting. And then university report submission link will also be in the minutes. Okay, so meet the administration. The first person is Mr. Joe Weisenhunt, and he is the chair of the board of trustees. And then we have Bunny Adcock, and he is the vice chair of the board of trustees. Mr. Everett Cornell Maltbia, he's secretary of the board of trustees. Okay, so tailgate. This is October 6th, so this Saturday at 3 p.m. So we're starting it. And Chick-fil-A will be there, Chick-fil-A catering, so please come. You don't have to wear business casual, but look presentable and just wear your name tag so people know who you are. You can ask questions about SGA. It's good PR, so please come. And then if you are a new senator, please come to me after the meeting and I can get your selection. So.
Are there any questions for Vice President McGarry?
Location. Oh yes. The tailgate is right in front of the Science Center.
Are there any questions for Vice President McGarry? Vice President Burke. Senator Weston.
I forgot the date.
October 6th.
Any other questions? Senator Morrison.
How long do we have to stay for the tailgate?
It's not required, but as long as you like stay. As long as you can stay, please.
Any other questions for Vice President McGarry? Vice President Burke.
All right, very quickly, I hope y'all are doing very well. I know the school year is about to ramp up. So I've got a couple things. SAPA, that's happening. It happened last week. We did the hearings last week. We've got deliberations starting tomorrow through Thursday. We're anticipating giving out those allocations on the 8th of October. So I'll get that report to you on that date. I think that's a week from now. And so that process is rolling well. I've got another probably a motion that I'll bring up in new business about an allocation to Bear Boots on the Ground in addition to the one that we did last week. It's for their winter break trip that they're taking to the North Carolina to help with the efforts after the hurricane destruction there. So those dates are actually December, it'll be 9th through the 14th. There's not a lot of solid plans in terms of sign up yet because we're still working out logistic details. But when that happens, I'll give it to you. But I wanted to bring that to your attention before new business. In addition, the Finance Committee met at 4:30 today, and we, in addition to approving that motion for that allocation, we approved some funding for emergency SAPA requests. And I guess for you new people, SAPA means the Student Activity Fee Allocation Committee. So what that essentially, that branch of our student government does is it takes the pool of funds that we receive from the student activity fee and it distributes it among the registered student organizations on our campus. So that's that process, but there's an additional process for emergency SAPA for organizations who did not make, for whatever, if they were created after the SAPA process wrapped up, or if there was another extenuating circumstance that they can justify, then the Finance Committee takes those requests into consideration. So we've got 4. The Student Council for Exceptional Children requested some conference registration fees, and the committee decided to allocate them $740. That's their request. The African Students Association asked for $3,000, and the Finance Committee allocated them $2,250. And PBL, which is Phi Beta Lambda, it's the college version of FBLA, if you're familiar with FBLA. They asked for $500 and they received $500 for their conference registration fees for their officers to go to their conference. And then the Clarinet Alliance is actually a new organization, asked for $1,500 for an honorarium for a speaker and received $750. So that is a little bit of a report on that. If you have any questions about that, feel free to see me at the end of this meeting or shoot them in my inbox. All right.
Are there any questions for Vice President Barton? We will go into standing committee reports. Academic Affairs, Senator Oppie.
We met this past Tuesday, September the 25th at 8 a.m. to discuss what we wanted to do for this upcoming year. We agreed that we want to continue working with academic advising and try and get that just better, be more useful to students, help them utilize it. And we're wanting to focus kind of on helping them use that to figure out professional things such as job advising, maybe having peer advising, maybe it's a work study.
Are there any questions for Senator Oppie? Internal Affairs, Senator Walking.
So today we met right before Senate. We created our mission statement, our goals, and we constructed a previous notice that I'll be presenting in new business today. The piece of the Constitution in front of you today, like Vice President Barnes said, I thought it would be important that even if you aren't applying to the positions, you know what each of them does, so that when people are appointed, you know their job in the Constitution. And that's all we have today.
Are there any questions for Senator Watkins? Housing and Food Service Committee, Senator Hale.
We met for the first time on Friday. We just talked about goals and what we want to see change pertaining to housing and food, specifically food. We've come up with some pretty good ideas, and we're going to be in contact with Jim Neighbors and also former chair, which was Vice President McGarity. And hopefully she'll be at our next meeting, and we'll get the ball rolling on projects.
Are there any questions for Senator Hale? Vice President Barton.
Can we go eat at Hendricks again?
I'll work on that.
Any other questions for Senator Hale? Diversity Committee, Senator Martley.
Hello. So we met on Thursday. We meet on every Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. This last Thursday we met in the student center and we talked about what diversity means, kind of talked about what it's supposed to, and talked about our timeline for our applications for our 5 million SGA student representatives that we're doing this. And just kind of talked about expectation and communication between each other and a layout of our general people when we have every week.
Are there any questions for Senator Martley? Student Fee Advisory Committee, Senator Teeter.
Thank you. All right, so our committee times are going to be at Tuesdays at 5:30. For those that check the grouping, you would have already known that. Fees that we're looking at this semester, they are the access and security fee, the athletics fee, the student center / recreation fee, the student activities board fee, online fee, and the technology fee again. And we have drafted a memo to send out to all the people in charge of that, and it's waiting for them.
Are there any questions for Senator Teeter? We will move into ad hoc committee reports. Bear Advocacy Group, Senator Kilgore.
Yes, so their advocacy group has been very busy. We had a busy week last week with National Voter Registration Week. So on Tuesday, we participated in a voter registration drive that was going on all across campus. And in total, from all the tables at drive, we have reports that we registered over 100 students to vote. So that's super awesome. I'm so proud of my students. My community did great work. And then on Wednesday, myself and Senator Tribble, we talked to the Faulkner County Election Commission to clear up a lot of misconceptions about registering to vote on campus, early voting, absentee ballots, stuff like that. And so in the coming week, my committee, we're going to meet Wednesday at 3 p.m. And we're going to draft some type of email or make some type of infographic that we can disseminate that information to students. We are also going to work on the resolution that was brought up the first Senate meeting about supporting students who want to go vote on election day. And so, yeah, that's pretty much.
Are there any questions for Senator Kilgore? Community engagement, Senator Sander.
Okay, hi. So we meet at Wednesdays at 5, or on Wednesdays anyways, at 5, and this week we got a new senator. Senator Morse is on community engagement now, SGA. And at our meeting this week, we just kind of talked about stuff that we want to do in the community and on campus. If you guys have ideas, please come to us.
We're really working on Swipe Share this year, and Senator Therion is working on a training for CERT, which is a community emergency response team, which is exciting. And we're also working on a canned food drive with academic affairs, so excited for that. So that's it.
Are there any questions for Senator Sander? Okay. Student Resources, Senator DePerja.
Hello, I have no report. So this said, if you're on student resources, please stay for like 10 minutes out there after the meeting.
Are there any questions for Senator DePerja? Sustainability, Senator Street.
Hello. So we're meeting every Monday after Senate. So we basically, our first meeting, we discussed kind of our goals for what we want to accomplish over this semester, and our main goal that we're really working on for the next couple of weeks is just informing students of what they can and can't put in blue bins on campus in regards to recycling, and we're going to try to get a graphic out over the next 3 weeks to kind of push that all over campus and on the screens that you see, Student Center, the College of Business, all of their different buildings. On top of that, we're working with Miss Jin, Senator Gale, with housing and food to try to improve recycling efforts in the Student Center and all that fun stuff. So if you have any ideas of what you would like to improve on campus and stuff like that, please text me or meet with me, and I would love to try to figure those out for you.
Do you have any questions for Senator Street? Are there any university committee reports? Senator Kilgore.
So last Tuesday at X period, I met with the Study Abroad Advisory Committee, which Ms. Fleming alluded to in her presentation. And they are working on trying to open the Office of Study Abroad scholarships and other scholarships to international students and to graduate students. Like Ms. Fleming said, it's kind of out of Study Abroad's hands, so I know that an email has been drafted to the provost, and we're trying to get the ball rolling on that. Also, there are talks of starting a study away program, which would be basically a program where students who did not have the resources to study abroad or did not want to study internationally could study perhaps maybe in New York City or San Francisco or somewhere in the United States and also earn course credit. So that's in the works as well.
Are there any other university committee reports? Do you have any unfinished business? Any new business? Senator Watkins.
So disclaimer, you won't find this previous notice in front of you. Usually we do try to give everybody a copy of it, but since this one was 4 pages, I didn't want to go through all the paper in the SGA office. So if you would like to see a hard copy, I have it, but it will also be included in the minutes. In accordance with the SGA Constitution and SGA Special Rules of Order, notice is hereby given that the following Constitution bylaw amendment will be considered at the next regularly scheduled SGA meeting on October 8, 2018. Article 3, Section 1, reason for amendment is to clarify the qualifications for candidacy for the Student Government Association.
Any other new business? Vice President Barton.
I move that, in accordance with the Finance Committee's recommendation, the UCA SGA allocate no more than $3,300 to Bare Boots on the Ground to subsidize transportation costs for the alternative winter break trip to North Carolina. All funds garnered from the SGA reserve account.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the UCA Student Government Association allocate no more than $3,300 to Bare Boots on the Ground to subsidize transportation costs for the alternative winter break trip to North Carolina. All funds garnered from the SGA reserve account. Discussion on the motion, Vice President Burton.
So this is where all the good information about this is going to come from. So they're going to North Carolina on December 9th through the 14th. So right after finals wraps up. They'll bus students down to North Carolina. They'll be doing a lot of work. Depending on how the weather and environment is, it'll really make an impact on what kind of work they're doing, but they're expecting to just do mudding out. So you take all of the trash that's in a flooded house and you just take it out. So it's a good bonding experience. They're doing full days of service, but they also have some time to relax. Not really relax, but to bond. They're going through Send Relief, which is part of the Arkansas Baptist Disaster Relief Organization. So really, all their lodging and things are paid for via this church system. Really, they take very good care of the students that we send. The only concern that we have to address is transportation costs, and the university budget buses are actually reserved for this 2-day period or this 4-day period that they're looking to go on this trip. So they have to find alternative transportations, and you have to get a bus or buy a bus for that. And so we're really looking to allow students that want to participate in this opportunity, this alternative service break, to be able to do so without having to pay an unreasonable amount for transportation purely, if that makes sense. I'm open to questions.
Any other discussion on the motion? It's been moved and seconded that the UCA Student Government Association allocate no more than $3,300 to Bear Boots on the Ground to subsidize transportation. To subsidize transportation costs for the alternative winter break trip to North Carolina. All funds garnered from the SGA reserve account. Roll call votes. Vice President McGarity.
Barnes.
Yes.
Beavers.
Yes.
Burton.
Yep.
Kale. Yes. Cheek. DeLuca.
Yes.
Persia.
Yes.
Street.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Galarza.
Yes.
Spears.
Yes.
Golden. Ryder.
Yes.
Harris. Ivy.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Kilgore.
Yes.
Little. Locking.
Yes.
Marbley.
Yes.
Majority, I vote yes. Moore.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Morse.
Yes.
Patel.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Probst.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Sander.
Yes.
Skate.
Yes.
Sorry. Sierra.
Yes.
Spurgeon. Street. Teeter.
Yes.
Urian.
Yes.
Tribble. Tuju. Waitson.
Yes.
Weston.
Yes.
Wilson. Young.
Yes.
I have Aaron here twice. Am I missing one?
With 40 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Is there any other new business? Do we have any announcements? Vice President McGarry.
So there are 2 little flyers on each of your little desks. There's the Water About Us, which is a event that's coming up. Information's on the flyer, but we need volunteers for this. So it's October 4th and 6th. We need about 10 students to drive golf carts to and from the Hyper, from the parking lot of the Hyper between 6 and 9 p.m. And if you guys want to do this, contact Leslie Grable if interested. Also a fall break opportunity, which is also on one of the flyers. It's in Fayetteville, Arkansas, October 11th through 12th. It's $30, and the deadline to apply is this Friday.
Any other announcements? Senator Kilgore.
Yes. So Dr. Greatreal of Outreach has reserved 2 tables in front of the Student Center and outside the CAF tomorrow for another voter registration drive. We're just really trying to do another push to get students registered before October 9th, which is the deadline. And so if you would like to help participate, it's very rewarding. You can ask me after Senate or through me or me or something like that. Help would be appreciated. Thank you.
Senator Peter.
All right, so I'm not supposed to do personal things, but I think this warrants it. We have 2 future Commission Army Second Lieutenants that just was found out today that they are receiving active duty, which is very important. That is Senator Grider and Senator Therion. And Senator Therion also received the Distinguished Military Graduate, which puts in the top 20% of Army ROTC cadets that are graduating this year. So.
but please come support the community. It'll be a great initiative. We're awareness of recycling and the community of water conservation. So that's October 6th, this Saturday.
Vice President Geary.
Is it Laurel Park or?
Laurel. Mr. Hammond.
I have an announcement, if you don't mind.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, the thing she spoke on earlier is on the 4th and 6th is an underwater concert that's being put on through Dr. Gail Seymour and her department with Herding Cats. I don't know about ticket sales. I think they might have been sold out. I'm not 100% sure, but they are the ones selling tickets. I'm not in charge of tickets. So it's a very interesting thing that we're hosting in the Hyper on the 4th and the 6th, which would be it's an underwater concert. So if the tickets are available, I would recommend you try to go do those because it'd be very unique. So I'm curious to see how this is all going to work out. A couple other things. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, COPA is having an outdoor rock climbing trip up to Jamestown Craig. It's $70. It's for the weekend. You'll have 2 days of climb. We are doing a co-trip with Delta State, so you get to meet some other college students from Delta State. Will be primitive camping though, so you'll need to know that. So you'll be camping out and eating and having tents and those type of things. So it's primitive camping if you're interested in that. And then if you're also looking for something to do over fall break, we are whitewater rafting on the Ocoee. So if you're interested in doing those type of things, that is a fall break trip. We are going to leave on the Thursday for fall break and be there for 2 days of rafting and a day of projects and then return on that. And that price is $180. $70 was the other price. $180 is this price. So it's 2 trips down the river. You'll get to do on that. You'll get to stay. This will not be primitive camping, but you will be camping at a campsite. You'll have bath and showers. The other one you will not have bath and showers. So just let you know those type of things. So if you're interested in those type of things. Also, if another thing that's going on October the 8th, which is Monday, a week from today, at 2 to 4 o'clock, we are having our grand opening for the golf simulator. So we will have a few snacks, have some opportunity to do play and stuff on the golf simulator. That is in the Hyper, which is over there behind the basketball courts by the racquetball courts. If you're interested in coming by during that process. All right, thank you.
And just to kind of elaborate, for those of you that don't know Mr. Hammond, he's over Campus Recreation, and he sits in, or tries to sit in for most of our meetings. He usually will bring us some updates from Campus Rec, and he's also a really good resource if you have questions about the Hyper, about COPA. So just for all of you that are new, that don't know who Mr. Hammond is, he's the person that sits in the back of chambers and just kind of listens and watches what we do. Are there any other announcements? Senator Martley.
Alright, so from October 3rd to the 7th, House Diversity and Community has brought the Red Tail Squad traveling exhibit. They paid tribute to the city area. And so from the 3rd to the 5th, they'll go from 2 to 6 p.m. and 6 to 7 on 6 p.m. And it's free. So go ahead and see that. If you have any questions, you can contact the Angela Jackson, also the community. And then also, October is LGBTQ History Month, and Prism is hosting a drag show next Tuesday on the 9th of Community to increase LGBTQ awareness in our community. So, do you have experience of our
Are there any other announcements? Senator Weston.
Thank you. I don't have an announcement, but I didn't catch the date for the golf simulator. I really want to go to it.
Oh, that is Monday the 8th, which is a week from today at 2 to 4.
Awesome.
Yep.
Any other announcements? Vice President Barnes.
Good evening, all. Please accept this statement as formal notice of my resignation from the Student Government Association, effective immediately following the conclusion of this message. The connections and associations I have made through this organization will stay with me as I continue my personal life and professional career in new places and spaces for years to come. There comes a moment in a person's life, in fact, many moments, where one must reevaluate the present circumstances and come up with a new plan of action based on what one has seen. I have, for all of my college career thus far, been actively involved with this organization. I've seen now 2 executive boards and 2 full Senate bodies, and all of those I have interacted with to this point have entered and exited my life, displaying knowledge beyond measure and wisdom in spades. I now stand before you as one of those executive members, and I couldn't be more proud of the work that we have done throughout this summer and early fall to better the senator experience and the student experience. What I will say is that I am regretful for things I will not be able to do after leaving this position, but I am joyful in moving forward to do what makes me truly content at this time. I would like to take a second to thank each entity of folks separately. First, thank you to the lovely senators. You're all robust and generous leaders of whom I was gifted the responsibility of taking care of you and making sure you are given the tools you need to be wonderful agents of this organization, but also mentally healthy persons of collegiate stance. I hope that I have done you right in this time I was given to lead and develop you, and if I have lacked, I apologize deeply for that misstep. Second, I would like to thank my peeps, these folks right behind me, the advisors. They welcomed me into this organization with open and adoring arms from the moment I stepped inside my first rules meeting, wanting to run for freshman class representative and not knowing anything about how to do that. I recall shaking Dr. Tarka's hand and feeling driven to impress him, as well as Ms. Shar and Hank, the three of whom I would come to know both as deep motivators and as those who would laugh at my jokes and make me feel at home when I needed that. Thank you for believing in me from the start, and thank you for wishing me well in this next leg of my college adventure. Lastly, thanks to my executive board. You all have stuck beside me when I was wild, which you have come to understand is who I am through and through. You three have seen me at my worst, but I believe you have also seen me at my best. And I must remind you that in order to be my best at this time, I must take a moment to consider how I should value myself and my happiness over how I believe I will make others happy. Remember that, but remember that I love you each fiercely. And that goes for all of you. Let me remind you, all of you, that Sophie Barnes is a person with a lot of love in her spirit and a lot of fire in her soul. This is not the end of her. In fact, it is only the beginning of a long journey of evaluation and discovery. She has more to give than a single position can allow. She must now exist within a time of reflection over her life, her happiness, and her mental well-being in order to truly display to the world what she is capable of and what she can do with the time given her on this earth. Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve you and learn from you. I look forward to being myself and bettering myself in another situation, another time, another place, with another group as bright and energetic and motivated as yourselves. You are brilliant, and I never want you to forget that. Sincerely, Sophie Barnes.
The Ideal Pages passed out the official statement from the Student Government Association. The Student Government Association at the University of Central Arkansas was informed earlier today of the resignation of Sophie Barnes as executive president. The SGA fully supports Sophie's decision to resign, and we thank her for her service to the student body, the SGA, and the university. Sophie's devoted over 2 years of her time at UCA to the student government, and we, along with the student body, benefited greatly from her service. Sophie brought a valuable, unique perspective to the SGA and the 2018-19 Executive Board. With her leadership, enthusiasm, and creativity, she made great contributions to the success our organization has encountered thus far. Sophie has not only been a member of our Executive Board, she's a friend. While we are saddened to see her step down, as her friends, we wish her the best in her future endeavors. The SGA will continue to move forward, and we still have some exciting projects and goals to accomplish this year. This will not deter any current or future student initiatives as we continue to be committed to serving the student body's needs. Effective Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018, the Vice President of Operations, Rose McGarity, will begin her service as Executive Vice President to the student government. There will be a special election of the student body held on Thursday and Friday, October 4th and 5th, via WorkSync to elect a new Vice President of Operations. Our top priority as the Executive Board is to continue to work for the student body as we have throughout our terms. Student government continues to be an avenue for the student body to voice concerns and work proactively to effect change. Our aim is to always put students first and work tirelessly to ensure that the needs of UCA students are met. The additional attachment to the official statement is the constitutional process for filling a vacancy on the SGA Executive Board. From the information we have available, Senators Jennifer Kale, Karan Martley, Ashley Sander, Amber DePersia, and Marco Ramirez are the only currently seated senators that are eligible to occupy the role of Vice President of Operations. If you are interested in putting your name in for that application process, we ask that you please stay behind after Senate so that we can provide you with more information and explain how the process will carry out. If you have any questions, any comments or concerns, please feel free to bring those to me, any advisor, or any member of the SGA Executive Board. This meeting is adjourned.
Bye.
It was.
Well, I heard from Ms. Sander, there's only 2 people who did RFPs. There's only 2 groups. Huh?
So it's us for that one.
Oh. No. We're not putting RFP out. I'm not working. Someone giving stuff to us. That's okay.
Vendors who have submitted an RFP
To
your
us.
project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Been a long week already? It's already Monday.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I was really hoping to get more. I wasn't very.
Yeah, let me know.
Well, Cassandra will do. Hank, they're trying to get Hank as the chairperson to chair the committee. So I'm gonna have to speak with him, see if he wants to decide. Then after that, he'll call it together and they'll send stuff out to us to start reviewing them.
Yeah. Let me know. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I you have the. Okay, I will email you. Yeah, another thing, I don't know if you see something like there's 5 to 9.
That's fine.
By the way, I thought you were supposed to come after speech. So I started reading something like this. I didn't know.
No, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it.